Yeah, you're getting 13 minutes of that. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. It's episode 98 of What's on the Bench Weekly. And if you're not familiar with this show, it's where I take you through projects that I'm working on, things that are on the bench, new stuff that's come through, new stuff to build. It's all featured right here on this show. So why don't you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell, and we'll get started on what we're doing today. This week, I'm in the process of sanding this Land Cruiser body. This is one of those new 250 series Land Rovers. Did I say Land Rover? This is one of those new 250 series Land Cruiser bodies. Toyota just put these out. This is a real truck, for those of you who don't know. Real truck, but it's got IFS. Boom, roasted. And I'm taking an Element IFS 2 chassis, and I'm going to be slapping this body on, potentially doing some sort of interior, courtesy of Night Customs, and hopefully taking this with me to Proline by the Fire. I'm also taking another build, and we'll get into that one later on in this episode, but I'm going through all the difficult, hard work of sanding this body. I've done all of my styrene slurry. You can see some of it in the seams here. It's a little bit glossier than the rest of the body, but it's all over the place. Anywhere there's not supposed to be a seam, I've put some on the outside, and of course, it's all over the inside as well. Every single joint has now been reinforced with styrene slurry throughout the entire build here in order to kind of help give this body some strength. And the reason I'm using ABS slurry is because this is an ABS body. Styrene is my preferred body manufacturing material, and I just like how it works. I also like how you can build with it, and how MEK or MEK substitute will just bond to it perfectly. It really is the best quality fidelity for a hard body. You can use PETG or PLA Tough or PLA carbon fiber. Any of those will work just fine. This is probably, because it's ABS, going to be a lot more heat resistant, and when I get the CUCV on the bench, I'll show you why in a moment. But yeah, really happy with this. It is tedious now. This is a tedious part of the build process, getting through all this sanding to reveal nice smooth ABS underneath, but totally worth it for the right prep. And nothing bothers me more than seeing a really great body that's been 3D printed not prepped or finished properly. And there are a bunch of different ways, and I've used resin curing to smooth out a body, but with ABS I wanted to just do the hard work of sanding, because it's just going to be a much more rewarding process in the end when it's all done, because it's going to look awesome. Anyway, many more hours to come on this one, and we'll get through it hopefully sooner rather than later, because Proline by the Fire is rapidly approaching. And speaking of Proline by the Fire, let's get our next build on the bench. Taking this keeping things clean very seriously. Here's the body, this RC 4-wheel drive extra cab body that I've been doing some modifications to. No modifications for this week, though I have started to tape out the ideal kind of cut for a bobbed bed. You all know what a bobbed bed looks like. Looks like this, but shorter. So that's what that's what's in the works anyway. I haven't fully committed to it yet. In fact, you know what? Put a comment down below if you think I should bob the bed or leave the bed unbobbed. And of course, like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and also consider a channel membership, which was an excellent segue. I offer all kinds of behind-the-scenes content. In fact, you can see a whole video of my weekend previous where I went up to the ultimate RC adventure at Valley Ventures RC in Pembroke, Ontario, where I had an amazing time and saw a lot of my very good friends. It was great. I also won a couple of awards. But not for trucks, because I was judging the concourse. Regardless, though, if you are interested in that, I will put a link down below. Not just do I do a lot of behind the scenes, but there are a lot of tips and tricks and special extra content that you cannot see anywhere else. So consider joining that. What I did want to show you for this week on the extra cab build is more of a chassis related thing. From Twisted Fab Co., we've got a new skid, and this is a flat belly skid that adds a lot more clearance for that whole VFD transmission. I haven't installed it yet, obviously. It's here, it's 3D printed, all the hardware is included, and it looks like a really nice piece. The guys at Twisted Fab Co. Are doing some pretty amazing stuff. If you haven't seen this chassis, you should. I'll get it out right now. Share this with you. Bluetooth drive shafts in the front. We are getting some nice patina on these parts. I will have to take them off, give them a good scrub, and then paint them, because I do want them to all match the chassis. I did consider maybe painting the rails a different color. I may still do that. If you watched last week's episode, which I will link to right up here, I've decided on a body color, so at least you can go back and surprise yourself with what that is. But let's see, this skid obviously is going to get rid of all of this lower clearancing here. It's probably just going to tuck it right up into the top of the rails there, so that's actually going to be quite nice. Give ourselves a touch more clearance, which is excellent. You never have too much. Man, there's just so much flex even for a leaf sprung chassis. Pretty exciting stuff. I'm really, really excited about this build, and I need to jump on it. Lickety split. Running low on time. All right, so some fun stuff happening there. Let's get this off the bench and put what's next on the bench on the bench. Next on the bench, this ancient, because drift moves very quickly, Yokomo YD2S chassis. This is an old chassis. This was my first drift chassis, and taught me some things. Taught me that I wasn't amazing at drift right away, but also because of its age, there's some shortcomings to this chassis that don't really make it that viable in this day and age. So I'm going to strip what is left of the electronics here, just a servo actually, and add that to my new associated DC-10 kit. This showed up yesterday actually, so how fortuitous that I'm late on this episode. This is the new DC-10 rear-wheel drive competition drift kit from Team Associated. They're clearly making a bit of a name for themselves, trying to anyway, in the drift market. So I'm pretty keen to see what this is all about, and I will be building this as soon as humanly possible to get this on the track. There's a lot of carbon fiber in here, and it looks like they've really done their homework. I haven't had much experience with drift kits. I've only built 2, so this will be a fun and exciting build. And maybe I'll even consider doing it live, because I love embarrassing myself in front of hundreds of people. Anyway, watch for that coming soon. I'll be sure to try to give it a full rundown, and then we'll take it to the track and let some of the professionals drive it as well. While we're here, why don't we take a look at what else they sent me? They also sent me the new RC10D. Well, I guess this isn't new. I guess it's new in that it's reread, but this is the RC10DS, which means dual sport. But it's basically like an RC10, but with road tires and lower shocks. I think that's sort of how they market it. But I was learning all about this. This was obviously way before my time, but it's Team Associated on-road racing, but not like pan car. It's for any surface. That's the kind of the vibe here. Anyway, rear-wheel drive, and like I said, essentially an RC10. But you get one of these goofy Trans Am style bodies. Is that what they would call that? Trans Am body? I don't know. Trans Am body. I was right. Holy cow. Right on the money. Looks like a great kit though. Lots of aluminum parts, aluminum shocks, good looking wheels and tires, differential in the rear. It does definitely look like a lot of fun, and sort of like what I would expect an on-road kind of spec vintage class might look like. So maybe I can go win some more trophies. Yeah. Thanks again, Associate, for sending those my way. We'll be having lots of fun with those. Video ASAP. And finally, this week on the bench, here is the CUCV with some battle scars. I did see proof that I drive these things. Look, there's scrapes on there. You cannot deny that I don't drive it, and it's also quite dusty. I had a great time at the event, This truck performed as I expected. The GCM C-Max chassis is excellent, held together beautifully, drives nice and smoothly. It is not a comp truck by any means with these super skinny tires, stiff leaf sprung suspension, and long wheelbase. It did about as good as I would have expected, which is to say it drove. And I didn't break it. But I did leave it out in the sun for a little while, and you can see, well, maybe you can't see here, but there's some warping in the bed. And that's what happens when you leave PLA in the sun. And it's a dark color, and it's a hot day. You will get a bit of a warp. So that's unfortunate, but it isn't too noticeable. And in fact, you know what? It adds a bit of realism to this old Chevy POS. So there you go. That's this week's episode. Not a ton has happened. I've been very busy at work and continue to be busy at work. But if you don't find time for your hobbies, what's the point of having a hobby if not to take away from all of the stresses of your regular day? I very much enjoy this hobby, and burnout is always something that can happen. And it's a question that I get asked a lot. How do I continue to keep going without getting burnt out? Well, the good news is there's always something new. There's always a new challenge. There's always a new technique. There's always a new build right down the road. So if you ever find yourself feeling a little demotivated and not interested in working on a truck, step away from it for a few days. Take the time to reset. Go out and enjoy the rest of the trucks that you already have built. Chances are you'll be right back in the workshop, ready to start on your next project. All right, I think that's a great place to end it. Thank you so much to all of my channel members for making this channel continued success, and to all of the rest of you for watching. It means so much. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next week for the Wayne Gretzky episode.